Hello, welcome everyone to Long Island Talks, the show that lets you weigh in on the big stories of the day. I'm Lee Tyrell. Targeting illegal housing, News 12 Long Island's Eileen Palmer tells us the clues the town of Islip will be looking for to crack down on slumlords.
Multiple mailboxes and several satellite dishes, small clues that more than one family could be living in a single-family home. Islip town officials want to use those clues to crack down on illegal housing.
And it's not saying these properties still can't be rentals, so just have them safe.
Islip lawmakers have now introduced amendments to revise the town housing code to make it easier to prove in court that houses are being rented illegally.
This will give us more teeth of going after the slumlords.
To put it most simply, basically this changes the burden of proof. Instead of the town needing a tenant to come to court to testify or actually getting into a home to prove that it's an illegal dwelling, instead they can rely on outside clues such as one too many mailboxes or one too many satellite dishes on a single family home.
But not everyone thinks it's a great idea, including Iris Bowers, an Islip homeowner for 40 years.
Aren't they picking on the wrong people? I mean, we have crimes being committed. We have people who are starving.
Paul Palmieri with the Landlord, Homeowners and Merchants Coalition says it's just plain unconstitutional.
The law still says that you're innocent till proven guilty. Next thing they'll be doing, they'll have exercise police in our house to make sure we do exercises every day.
And Iris says officials would be better off trying to build more affordable housing.
My child had to move to Florida for affordable housing. He couldn't find any place to live here on Long Island.
In Islip, Eileen Palmer, News 12 Long Island.
So do you agree with the way Islip is about to crack down on illegal housing? Call us now. Tell us. 516-393-1800 is the email. litalks@news12.com is the phone number, and litalks@news12.com is the email to straighten that out. Joining me tonight in the studio, someone you just saw in Eileen's report, Islip Councilman Steve Flotteron. Thank you for coming in, Councilman.
Thank you.
And we also have Uzo Akujo from the Coalition of Landlords, Homeowners and Merchants, a property rights group. Thank you, Uzo, for coming in as well.
Thank you.
Councilman, to clarify this is not in effect right now. This is something that the town of Islip is looking into. You've got to hold some public hearings first.
Exactly. We had the vote today for the public hearing, which I believe will be a May 22nd meeting, but we have to first do the notices to
All right,
the
so
public.
there'll be plenty of notice around the town, letting people know when it is, what the topic is, and where it's going to be.
Yes, you're right.
News 12 will help out on that as well.
Perfect.
What has caused the town to look into this now? It's something you certainly could have done on your own, but now you've got a little bit of extra incentive from Suffolk County.
Okay. Well, what really started it as a civic leader. I just got into office a year ago, but prior to that, I was on a group called the Bayshore Summit Council, and I was chairing a group called the Code Enforcement Committee for 12 years. I joined forces with other communities, such in Brentwood, called the Brentwood Summit Council, and also in Central Islip. And we started an organization called the Tri-Hamlet Alliance, and we work together in common problems and causes. And one of our big concerns are the illegal apartments where people may be living in basements and attics, and their safety. There's too many people that have been lost, died in fires because they did not have proper smoke detectors, proper exits from their home, and we just want the people to live safe. You know, you could get a rental permit and do it properly.
Now, so you've heard the safety argument before.
Yes.
That everybody's worried about the safety of people who are living in this illegal housing, in these multiple dwellings that are really meant for just one family.
Yes,
the other issue has also been, we've heard people talk about, they think the real issue is quality of life. They don't want overcrowded illegal housing in their communities. Your group believes what? That you should be able to do with your property what you want?
Well, we do believe in freedom. We do believe in property rights. We don't want people living in overcrowded housing. We don't want people living in uncomfortable situations. We do, however, want people to live. And we want people to live somewhere.
In some place, not on the streets. In some place,
not on the streets, and to have the best, do what's best for them. And that's what they do. The people in basements or anywhere else are not prisoners. They're there because that's the best thing for them. And if the town of Islip or any other municipality is concerned about that, provide them with an option instead of punishing those who are giving them a place to live.
But you have to understand that in some cases, you've got 18, 20 people. I mean, we've seen it. News 12 has covered the stories. Yes. You've got 18 or 20 people living in one house, in a house that was meant for at most maybe 2 families, not 18 to 20 people.
Again, the street is not the better option. You know, sleeping in cars is not the better option. It's not the safer option. Again, unless people are held somewhere at gunpoint, if wherever they are is the best they can do for themselves. And if you're not going to do something better for them than to attack people in their living conditions, it just doesn't make any sense.
All right, well, Councilman, how do you respond to that argument? Because what happens is, in effect, you might throw some people out on the street.
We just wanted people to get, you could have accessory apartments, you could rent out a house, just do it legally. Make sure they have the smoke detectors and the other proper things to have a legal rental apartment.
Yeah, go over the code in Islip for us. What is legal to have in Islip right now?
Just like people living in basements, there's a reason why the New York State Fire Code does not want you living in basement and cellars, is because if there was a fire, if you don't have more than one exit, they're trapped.
Do you have to register an apartment, an accessory apartment, or
yes.
a two-family house or a multiple-family house with the town of Islip?
Yes, you do.
Does it cost you?
Yes, it does.
Does somebody come out and inspect the property to make sure everything is up to code?
Yes, they do.
Does that cost you as well?
Every 2 years they come up for a new rental permit. You could get a rental permit for your house, or also if you are a homeowner and you want to have an accessory apartment. We just want them to do it legally and do it correctly. Just like you just can't build an extension on your house without building permits. Okay. Want to make sure it's up to New York State Fire Code. And I would say with the town of Islip, even before I got there, they were the leader of affordable housing. We still are. We're still committed to that. And then before I did get in office as a civic leader, I was doing home buyer workshops, working with the Long Island Housing Partnership, working with school districts. Because so many times we're finding a lot of people are renting, and almost for the same price, they could be owning at home. And just teaching the people how to clean up their credit and empowering them.
Okay, some of those issues very good there. Are you curious to find out how this is working in another town?
Well, sure.
All right, we've got the Riverhead Town Supervisor on the phone right now. And Supervisor, I understand you've already implemented this in Riverhead. How's it going?
It's going well. We implemented it in September of '06. In fact, the county just gave us a check in acknowledgement of the implementation of the new rental housing law. And we had a previous law, but it was, as the legislative intent at the beginning of the new one said, it was in need of remedial action, and we gave it that, and so far we're having no problems with implementation. Supervisor,
what was it about the extra money from Suffolk County that made the plan a little bit easier? Does it help with the expenses of code enforcement?
That's exactly right. We made a decision going in that if we were going to revamp the rental law, and that we wanted to have the enforcement power to make a difference. And as a result, we've hired a fellow from Brookhaven with 20 years of prosecutorial experience as the attorney. We've got a investigator with 25 years of experience, and we've got several code enforcement officers who've gotten more than the $7,000 the county gave us in training. So the idea was to help defray what we knew would be significant startup costs to get a program going that worked.
Well, now you've heard the argument that if, and you've heard Uzo was so eloquent about letting us, know that, look, a house that's overcrowded is certainly better than being on the street or living in a car. There have been complaints in Riverhead that, you need to provide us with more affordable housing. How do you respond to that argument when it comes to the issue of illegal overcrowded housing, that you just need to provide us with more affordable housing and then you won't have that problem?
Well, the statute that we're talking about addresses rental housing, and it's correctly called the safe housing law. We're focusing not on the illegality of it so much as on the safety of the units that are for rent. As far as, and incidentally, throughout the island, as you know, and in Riverhead, there isn't a lack of rental housing.
Yes.
On the other hand, as far as the affordability of the housing units in the town, we have been a major proponent of affordable housing and a major provider, which is more important. 15% of the housing in the town is a mobile or modular housing. We have housing stock that is available still in the relatively reachable range. So we're not too we could do better, but we are doing pretty well.
That's an honest. That's certainly an honest assessment for us. Thank you very much, Riverhead Supervisor.